Hello everyone, I'm Trix, this is The Basement, and welcome to What the Hell, the comparative series where I compare live actions to original source materials, whether they be light novels, mangas, or both. So we're going to look at Sweet Home today, so stay tuned. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the 4 remaining episodes and the 71-ish remaining chapters. So that's episodes 7 to 10, chapters 71 to 41. Right, going from here, the series diverges completely almost from the manhwa. Comparing the two is like comparing two very different citrus fruits, for example, like a lemon and an orange. So the comparisons are going to be much less now because of this divergence. In the Netflix series, episode 7 is filled with bits of exposition about them finding out one of the characters has appendicitis. Then they tool a car ready to go outside. There's a lot of talking. The girl from the previous episode, the new character, the fire marshal girl, she's captured by the military and tortured in this episode, and she betrays the group to the military. They give her a tracker and send her on her way after torturing her. You know, this is the type of thing a paramilitary organisation does. They torture their own citizens and then they just let them go because why not? Okay, so they were leaving the building, right, to get supplies because the one girl has appendicitis and they need more food and stuff, right? The electricity basically frizzles out in this period of time, and in the manhwa, this is the part where the outsiders appear. The outsiders arc is one of the best arcs of the manhwa, I think, and is given an extremely disservice in the Netflix series, as it only appears in one episode. It's literally half the manhwa, and they try and cram it into one episode, but that's later. So, episode 8 is the battle with the protein monster. This happens very quickly in the manhwa, and one of the characters that you come to like sacrifices himself futilely for the group, for the young kid. This is sad part because this old guy is probably the strongest emotionally of everyone, and he could have been the leader of the group if he wanted to. Now, this doesn't happen in the Netflix series. We have the fire truck ramming into the protein monster while he tries to go Hulk smash on the entire thing. They lob a Molotov at him. There's a whole sequence where they drop one of them, and it's so slow. Every episode from this point is dragged out. Scenes are not seconds, not maybe half a minute at most, but 3 to 4 to 5 minutes. There is one sequence in this episode that's 15 minutes of them hanging, sheeting, and preparing for an operation. The security guard appears during this episode. He appeared much earlier in the manhwa, and he kills the Christian guy with the katana in the manhwa at this period. However, because they brought it so late on in the series, this doesn't have any effect. Oh, bonus points, the monster effects on the security guard are rather corny. They're not like the manhwa at all, and he can spew flies at people. Yeah, so just inventing powers for monsters now. Right, towards the end of this episode, the outlaws arrive. They crash their car into the building, and that's where it ends. Episode 9 starts with the outlaws arc. There's a new monster kid appearing. Joji Hyun is joined by Shin Jung-seop and Im Hyun-sik in the manhwa. Those are the 3 most important outsiders characters. Now, in episode 9, Jo Yi-hyun is treated so badly that if you liked his character in the manhwa, this is when you would rage quit the Netflix series. Sorry. This is when, and I was coming to that point, to be honest, of quitting the series at this point, because it just takes a great story, maybe one I wouldn't have read without doing the series, but it takes a great story and it just goes, you know that story you had once? I'm throwing it away and then jumping up and down on the remains. So, the Outsiders arc, when Wook meets Seop, and they have this squaring off match in the manhwa, and obviously Wook comes out ahead because he's clever, and Seop is just a mindless, stupid criminal. Although he's cunning, he relies too heavily on his ace, the half monster, and the conman to spread discord. The conman is Im Hyun-sik. He in the manhwa gets a redemptive arc. In the series, he basically has one conversation. Shin Jung-seop in the Netflix series is just a maniac. He just shoots people. He just basically acts like a maniac. Although he's stupid, he's cunning, but his weakness, as I've said, is the two linchpins of his party. And when they betray him in the end, in the manhwa, he basically monsterizes, and that's a whole fight in itself. Doesn't appear in the Netflix series. Okay, so that's basically episode 9 and some corresponding chapters. Episode 10 is probably the stupidest episode ever, because they've probably run out of things to do because they've tied themselves into a stupid corner. This is, in the manhwa, this period, the wheelchair-bound guy makes his last stand against the monsters, saving the party. This is a very emotional part of the manhwa, and it's basically given a hugging sequence in episode 9 that goes on too long. So, we're on episode 10. I can't say anything positive about it at all. There's scenes of someone digging. There's scenes of someone trying to wake someone up. There's a scene with a kid crying because they burned one of the monsters that saved him in a previous episode. Yes, by the way, Slime Monster's a good guy, kind of, in the Netflix series. In the manhwa, he's not good, but he's not exactly evil. He's just trying to look after himself. But he does save the kid in the manhwa too. They've kept some parts, but they've disrespected it so much that, as I said, you would have rage quit about 8 or 9. 10 is filled with like a dog reappearing. There's a whole tunnel sequence that they're walking through, and the ending is I can't say anything positive about it, and I don't want to swear on this channel because, well, I want to keep it so I don't have to flag the video. Nothing good can be said anyway. Right. The ending is terrible. The ending in the manhwa is really well done. It's rather emotional, and there is a few chapters before when Dusik, the wheelchair guy, gives up his life for the group. I like that character so much that when he dies, that impact of the reversal of the death when he turns into a monster afterward honestly made me want to stop reading, because everyone decent that I liked was dying, but then we get the redemptive arc of the half monster and the con man, and that kind of makes up for it, but it's not enough. I'm not sure what you can say about the conclusions of the two. The Netflix series is left on a cliffhanger with Wook and the protagonist driving away in a car. Wook has all his burn marks magically healed. I don't know if it's a mess up with the makeup or he's half monster now. Okay, so in the manhwa, as I said, ending is one of the best endings that I've read in a dystopian series. And if you want a decent story, avoid the Netflix series, but read the manhwa. Be prepared for people that you care about dying though. I'm going to do 2 final conclusions where I'll be looking at the Netflix series by itself and the manhwa by itself. And yeah, there'll be those 2, and that'll be the end of the very first of What the Hell. Thank you everyone for joining me for this experiment. I hope you enjoyed it so far. Hope you have a nice time, and bye bye.